What's up, everybody? I am by my lonesome today. Let's see who's in the chat. We got a nice crowd waiting for all the shenanigans to start here at the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. Let's see here. Let's bring this audio down just a smidge. Scarif After Dark, what's happening? I hope you feel better. Vader Rapina, thanks for coming by. Megan Rickards, come on down, everybody. Let's see here. I was going to say StreamYard's in the chat, but that's the generic thingy-mabob there. But thank you very much for joining us. So we're going to be talking about Star Wars, the special editions. And I posted a while ago a little question regarding the Star Wars special editions. And I know as Star Wars fans, there are lovers of the special edition. There are haters. I'm not going to say haters because you can't really hate the special editions. Can you? No, you can't. Absolutely not. There are some people that did me a favor and put down what their favorite Star Wars original trilogy on the special editions, which one was their favorite. I've got my favorite, and I know a lot of people have their favorite for whatever reason. And tonight we're going to be talking with none other than Mark Austin, Mr. Boba Fett himself. And we are going to chat shop talk. We're going to do some shop talk here on the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast, Scarif Live. And if you guys are joining us in the rewatch later on after this is done, make sure to stick around to the end. We have a giveaway. What are we giving away? We are giving away this R2D2 USB car charger and a Star Wars Trilogy Special Edition button and some other Scarif stickers and some Scarif swag. So stick around for that. We're going to have a couple of announcements. We're going to have a fun here at the Scarif Scuttlebutt. We'll bring our guest out right after this.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Woohoo! What is up? Thank you, friends, for joining us. And Mark, thank you very much for joining us here at the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. Welcome.
Well, glad to be here. I'm really glad to be here.
Welcome back. This is not your first time here on Scarif Live, but always happy to have you, man.
I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be. It's like home away from home now.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Familiar.
So you hopped on the stream a couple of minutes ago, and we were talking before we went live. We had a wonderful conversation, but I wanted to make sure that we shared that conversation with the folks in the chat. And later on, I'm going to ask the chat if they have any questions for you. We're going to be answering some questions on Star Wars: The Special Edition, and maybe we can get some clarification. So you worked on which of the three films?
I worked just as the creature animator
Okay.
for A New Hope Special Edition.
Awesome. And early in this week, I had posted to see, just to kind of find out from some of our followers, you know, if people had their favorite, I guess, elements in some of the special edition versions of Star Wars. And a lot of people, you know, obviously they remember some extra stuff that was in there, which is lovely. Do you have a favorite out of all the three?
Me?
Yeah.
For me, it has to be Empire, because I love seeing the slave run on the landing pad.
Yeah.
That for me was just like, I wasn't expecting that. I didn't know. I'd already left ILM. I didn't know they was going to make another special edition. They only told me that it was going to do A New Hope.
Right.
So I wouldn't have left ILM had I known they were making more. and I would have ended up in the suit again for Return of the Jedi as well, probably.
Yeah.
But I thought that was it. Lucas was saying how expensive it was, so the bean counters. So I took off, but for me, when I saw that Empire Strikes Back shot of the slave one, oh,
Beautiful.
eye candy, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think for me, Empire Strikes Back is my favorite special edition because of the work that was put into it. I loved the Millennium Falcon approach in Cloud City, the way they expanded the shots, and it just looks.
Gorgeous.
Cloud City looks gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Yeah.
There is one shot in particular where the original one, they had our heroes running through a hallway. Obviously they were being chased by stormtroopers. In the original, they were inside, and then in the special edition, they put up a window and you can see Cloud City behind it. I was like, oh my God, that is so wonderful. I love that.
It opened it up to what a city in the clouds would have, and that's a lot of windows.
Absolutely. Yeah. So happy belated birthday.
Happy belated Boba Fett birthday.
Oh, there you go.
It was the anniversary of the blue screen shoot on December the 6th.
Excellent. Yeah. So
1994.
Wow. That's a long time. Actually, that's the same year I was telling you about my video production business. That's the same year I started. Yeah, it's the same year I started
Docking
that.
Bay.
Wow.
Docking Bay 94, and it was, that was the location.
Very nice. Very nice. So you've been posting a lot of really great behind the scenes shots of our favorite places in a galaxy far, far away. And one of the things that amazes me is that after all these decades, we are still seeing behind the scenes pictures that, possibly we haven't seen before, or at least I haven't seen before. It's do you have your own archives back there?
I saved them. Yeah, I saved them all into a folder on Pinterest, so it's huge.
Yeah.
So when I find them, I save a copy and I post it as well. So, but like you said, I think more people like digitize pictures and have found these old pictures and put them online, and they end up being recognized and shared. I love that. I'm like a bounty hunter of pictures.
Yeah, absolutely. You just posted a picture of kind of behind the scenes of the skiff from Return of the Jedi. And there's a lot of pictures coming out that people have shared their old Polaroid continuity pictures of the characters. And, obviously, for those of you that don't know what continuity is, they take a picture and just to make sure that costumes or characters, to make sure that they're right when they have to come back and redress a scene or a character and stuff like that. They'll make a reference and take a look at the picture. But I think it's awesome that we're seeing all this stuff, and especially with characters that we know and love. Like I see like old Mark Hamill and Mark Hamill pictures, some old Polaroids of Billy D. Williams, and it's really nice to see some extra stuff from that era, the era of classic Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean that's my passion, and that's why I share what I find. What I do is if I see something, and it doesn't register with me, I think I have to post it.
Yeah.
If I don't remember seeing it, and then there are some where it's like, oh, that's a classic, I have to repost it.
Yeah.
Or I haven't posted that in a long time. I have to repost this. This is a great shot. I'll do those. But I just love searching for that stuff. Like I said, I'm just a bounty hunter of cool behind the scenes images from loads of movies. Because I made that jump from doing animation in front of the camera in 2000 up to 2009. 2009, I jumped to behind the camera and fell in love with the camera and fell in love with previs and setting up shots and shooting live action. And I made the switch there. And so for me, seeing all these behind the scenes pictures is just like inspirational for the evolution that, we do it much differently now. We shoot it it'd be much easier to shoot now. It'd be much easier to animate now. When I started animation in computers, especially, it was so hard because there was just no tools to do anything. You couldn't stick one object to another. it was impossible to constrain an object to something else, like a hand picking up a glass.
Mm-hmm.
You can constrain the glass to the hand, and it's called a slave of the hand. It will
Sure.
do what the hand does: rotation, translation. But that was impossible back when I was doing the dewbacks. Oh my god, I'd have loved to have that tool.
Yeah, so let's get back. Let's talk about digital dewbacks. I saw a post that you were talking about how you animated the dewbacks, but everything in that scene as well, and obviously seeing some of that extra stuff. And I think when they announced that the special editions were going to be released, that was one of the first scenes that was teased out into the public. And I know I lost my mind because I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. Tell us a little bit about what your process was in I don't know, expanding this already iconic scene.
Well, I had storyboards from George, like storyboards that looked like storyboards I'd seen from the original movies, but these were like new. They're drawn by Ty Ruben Ellenson, and they had the dewback. They had a really ugly shot actually, which I changed. They introduced the dewbacks actually with the dewback's butt first. And the dewbacks butt. No, the original shot was the one that they start with the lander coming down, the one that they teased with. Yeah. That was the first shot that we ever had out the gate, and it was the most. There's so much concern with it. It was such a big deal that the whole room was filled with people that had an opinion. And so they're pulling it this way and pulling it this way. And I'm the animator thinking, I've got to take all these ideas and somehow apply them to this creature. It's not a lizard. It hasn't got legs like that. It's got legs more like a dinosaur, but still kind of lizardy. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing quite like that. On the rodents, a bit more like that,
Yeah.
So I had to come up with these walk cycle that worked first. And once the walk cycle was approved, a walk cycle on the spot, when George approved it, and I had to animate all the little canteens that are on it.
Yeah, on the side.
I had to animate the when they put the saddle on it. The saddle was a separate model to the dewback. Now they would make it one model, but back then the dewback was one model, saddle was another. So when the dewback moved and all its skin moved and everything, it went through the saddle, especially the straps and everything. So I had to animate, put a lattice on it, which is a kind of a wire cage, and pull it to kind of hope I'm matching the live action. But until it's rendered in dailies, I can't see it till I look when we're into theatre. So every day I took notes of where it wasn't working and where it was, and that was a nightmare. The reins were a nightmare because the reins were a chain of about 50 to 70 links. So it's like animating from a wire. Imagine you attached a wire to the stormtrooper's hand,
mm-hmm.
and you bent that wire into a shape that was meant to be the reins. And you have to make sure that the end of the tip of it has to touch the dewback's bit. So I've got to do the walk cycle first. Walk cycle's got to be approved first.
Yeah.
Then you attach you aim this wire at the reins. It's not attached to it, but every frame it has to attach to it, and at the same time jostle like a rope.
Right.
The nightmare. Imagine animating that with wire. That's what it was like. It was horrendous. Wow. So hard. Hard. We didn't know back then. We had no, there wasn't even blend shapes back then. Like stuff that is rudimentary now.
Right.
Like I said. Really hard.
Talking about rudimentary now, I mean, did you guys have an algorithm in the software that allowed for you to deal with gravity the way that you needed to walk? You had to do all that by eye and hand. Wow.
Yeah. When the stormtrooper dismounts off the dewback, there's one shot, they always crop it off in the pan and scan. It's when 3PO and R2 in the foreground, the canteen is in the background. Like, watch out, R2, blah, blah, blah. Dewback is now in there, and he's sniffing the backpack of the original 1976 stormtrooper that's in the play. So try to make the CG edition match the live action, always, in every shot.
Yeah.
Nightmare. But then I animated the guy dismounting down off the side of it, and they always chopped it off on Panscan. I was like, damn you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Paniscan is evil, by the way.
Panscan, yeah. Luckily, it's gone away. But I had to fake the gravity. I did get the producer to get a step ladder, and he walked down. He went up like 3 steps. I said, no, higher. He went 3 steps. Okay, 3 steps. I'll do the rest. So he jumped off, but I had to kind of fake it to what was the real ground plane and fake the landing as well. I have more of a stretch in the middle. So I had to use his reference, but kind of. And so George actually thought that was a live action Stormtrooper. He asked where we got the footage from. And I said, no, I animated about that by hand. And he was well impressed. He was like, I faked. I fooled
George Lucas. I know. What an accomplishment.
Yes.
That's great.
But they always chopped it off. That's what I'm saying. That's the piece of animation. That and the ropes.
Sure.
Even the ropes on the Rontos. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
There was a wire that had to go up and meet the bit. The wire was attached to the ground, so it had to start there, but aim at, and each one I had to bend these little joints, like going along a piece of wire like that, till it goes up to the. But it's pulling on it, so it stretches, and it has a straight where it goes the maximum straightness.
Yeah.
So I put that in first, so I knew how high I could take that Ronto head, and I based the Rontos on horses. Yeah. So I knew George loved horses, so I thought that would be a shoo-in with George. So
sure.
He never changed anything on the Rontos. He did on one shot. But that's another thing. That's the one you put on the flyer.
Yeah,
the Ronto shot. Oh, that's the only one he did mess with, and that's a whole story in itself.
The Ronto, obviously the skin texture and all that stuff. I mean, it does remind you of what ended up as the familiar T-Rex in Jurassic Park and the dinosaurs and stuff like that. And obviously this was before Jurassic Park. I think it was after. Yeah, Jurassic Park was 90.
Jurassic Park. I went to ILM and I got to hold the Jurassic Park Oscar in front of the with Dennis Muren. I wish I had that picture. And this is when we had photographs.
Right.
I don't know where it is.
Regular pictures. Yeah.
But they already had that Oscar. So I got my job at ILM because of that movie, Jurassic Park. So it's definitely afterwards.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So again, we were talking before we went live. We were talking a little bit about the technology and the work and your career and stuff. You started at a point where obviously we talked about some of the limitations in the software and the work. Now you are doing stuff that is leaps and bounds, I think, software wise. I want you to touch a little bit on what are some of the advantages that you are seeing in technology when it comes to your work, and what are you working on lately?
I mean, the biggest thing is that we can do what used to take separate groups to do. You used to have someone doing the animation, someone doing the compositing, someone doing the editing. It used to be separate departments, and now I can do that all from home. And people, and anyone can buy this software and start making movies from home, animating from home, compositing from home, editing from home. They can get it all in their Adobe package.
Right?
It's crazy now. It's crazy. Before, in the old days. In 1994.
Yeah, way back in 1994.
When computer animation was, now there's armies of computer animators. Back then, I was hired as a 2D animator because they thought it'd be quicker to teach me the computer than it would to take a technical guy that knew the computer how to animate.
Oh, yeah.
So they took a gamble. Some people didn't, very few people didn't like it, but some people didn't like it. And I just thought it was amazing. But we were the first people to kind of use this technology, and lucky I was at the place that was at the spearhead,
Yeah.
So we were trying things out back then a lot. But now, like I said, you can work from home. You can do all of this from home. Everything. That's what my job is now for Netflix. Is I take the storyboards, and I have to present to them a movie of that sequence. So I have to animate it, I have to light it, I have to choose the camera positions, the lenses, and everyone can do this. It's gotten that advanced now that anyone can do what I do. They could have their Premiere, Maya, Photoshop. That's
Sure.
basically all I really need. Sometimes After Effects,
Yeah.
but and so I deliver them. I pitch it to the directors, get my changes, but you end up designing the whole chunks of movies. And I'm sitting right in this chair, right? I am. This is my work space.
Exactly.
Tell.
Yeah. So talking about workspace, you mentioned that Empire Strikes Back is one of your favorite special editions, and I'm going to ask you because I remember when you were starting to draw that probe droid behind you.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, when are you going to ship that to me, man?
The probe droid. The probe droid painting. Is that
yeah. There you go.
What I'm trying to do is I really want to put on a show of all the paintings.
That would be
That's what
amazing.
I'm aiming for. So I'm not sure how many I did originally think I was going to do 20, but I want more than that. If someone's going to come see the show, I want to see a lot of paintings. So I got to do that show first, and then maybe I'll tell them at the show.
There you go. Yeah. I'll be there. I want to see the Dewback card that you did too.
Yeah. Because this
you pull
one,
that I love that
down,
one.
The command strips failed on it, but this one's my favorite painting.
It's pretty awesome. Look at that. And I remember you drawing that. Look at that.
Yeah. Do that eye. I start with the eye and worked out, actually. There he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is too cool.
I love that.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, the card is great. The image is great. It's fantastic. I when I was looking at the Pro Droid, I just love how you were able to capture the sun on it and the reflection off of the snow. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah, I wanted I wanted to come out of the mist.
Yeah.
And this is one of the first ones I've done that wasn't, I started with trying to paint something that everyone knew, pixel by pixel. I thought, if I can paint that, it's an accomplishment. If I can cheat someone into thinking that's a photo, that'd be cool. It's still painting, but it's almost a photo, maybe. I don't know. So this is one of the first ones where I wanted to do something that's my own. So I found the reference I wanted of Probe Droid. I found a reference of a location I wanted, and I just made up the rest. So.
Absolutely, that's awesome. So I know from your posts you have said you have stated that the Pro Droid is your favorite droid, but do you have a second favorite droid?
R2.
Oh yeah,
good old R2. I love R2. R2 would be first. Just something about the Pro Droid. I don't know, because Empire is my favorite original movie.
Yeah.
Because Empire, anyone that experienced the whole Star Wars phenomenon that happened back then, you couldn't imagine they could top it. It was untoppable.
Right.
And yet they did with Empire, and I think for me that was just like, I came out of Empire stunned. Vader's his father. There's Yoda. There's Boba Fett is amazing. I wanted him to be amazing from the action figure. I loved his design and the action figure. I was sold. This is the character. But when I saw the movie, I'm like, oh my god! And Slave One was amazing, and the ending was amazing. And it was a big cliffhanger. It was so dark, and they went through all this stuff, and I was like, for me, there was no replicating that experience.
Yeah, it's for me, it's kind of a near perfect movie.
Yeah.
There's so many elements, so much drama, the emotion. Absolutely. And speaking of emotion, you have an event coming up soon where all the Boba Fetts are going to be there, right?
5 of them. 5 of them are going to be there.
Wait, yeah.
Tamura is not going to be there. I've never met Tamura. But yeah, 5 of us are going to be there, and we're going to be back together again. So we always have. It's really fun. It's like we all get along really well with each other.
Yeah, that's
Um,
cool.
it was solid. It's like I don't know. It is like a brotherhood. I don't know Tamura. I'm hoping that he in that group would just fit right in. I'm sure he would.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
these 4 guys are amazing. So yeah,
That's
I'm
pretty
looking forward
cool.
to spending the 4 days in San Antonio. You've got to get there the day before, and you've got to leave the day after. So
Yeah,
it's a
that's
4 day
pretty
thing.
cool.
But yeah,
Very nice, very nice. And where I missed it in the poster there. Where is it happening?
it's in a shopping mall called Wonderland of the Americas, and they
Cool.
regularly have conventions there. They had like a Lost Boys one. They
Oh,
had
nice.
I had an ET one there just yesterday or the day before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's always putting on these like conventions, big names, for people that like me that love sci-fi, and
Yeah.
that's their bag. That's me. So anyone from the Lost Boys, I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the
It's
best thing about doing all these conventions. I get to hang out with all my heroes.
sure.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's such a cool thing. I was talking to another podcaster. We were talking about how nowadays it seems like everybody wants to be a nerd. Everybody wants to be a geek. It's hip to
Yeah,
be square. Back then we were made fun of for
yeah,
liking Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. Oh, he's a Trekkie, whatever.
yeah,
But now it's like it's like
yeah,
it's almost like high fashion. What's all
yeah.
that? What's that all about?
What I remember, my best one of my best friends at school, his brother would make fun of me because I collected dolls. He called them dolls, and he called
Right.
them dolls on purpose. It just really irked me. And I'm sure he has a collection now.
Sure. Yeah. I think
Sure.
my wife still calls them dolls.
Yeah. I don't care. They're cool. Action figures are cool. I try and correct him. It's
Right. Yeah.
action figure. Like,
We have to
dolls.
educate the masses, right?
Yeah, yeah. But now,
Yeah.
like you said, now it's cool to be a nerd. It's like,
Yeah.
and women seem to like, some people get attracted to the nerdy types,
The
and
geek.
so
Yeah.
and they have the similar passion as well. They want to go to the conventions and they love
Sure.
the movies and
Yeah.
stuff. So
Do
yeah,
you think that because I was having a conversation with another friend of mine, Sean, the real Sean Kreml, he's got a YouTube page where he does a lot of drawings, comic book drawings, but we were talking about how maybe this I guess maybe this fandom has been watered down. It used to be special and now everybody's just jumping in just to jump in. Do you think that's somewhat true, or do you think the more the merrier, it's a party?
only in I think it's true only in the fact that people have kind of lost respect for other people's opinions
There you go. Yeah.
when it comes to our shared passion.
Right.
Anyone can have a different opinion to me. I encourage it. Like the world would be completely boring if everyone had the same
Sure.
opinions and passions exactly stamped as me. There'll be nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
It'll be
Exactly.
boring. So our differences should be embraced, and instead they're bickered about. And I always have to just I pull out of it. Whenever that starts, I just have to turn my back on it because you can get swept into it. And I try and keep everything on my social media positive.
Sure.
I don't want to enter into negative. I don't want to enter into politics. It's nothing to do with what I'm interested in.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm here for Star Wars and cat videos, right? You posted something having to do with the escape pod model.
Mhm.
And I want to put that up real fast. I was wondering too, because we saw in the that Disney documentary, after all the work that ILM was doing, one of the first shots was the escape pod releasing from the ship.
Yeah.
When George came back from Elstree, nothing was done other than that one shot.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, I don't know if you know, if this is the real escape pod. Do you think this is the oldest prop from the movie to exist?
No, I don't know because, like I said, I'm bounty hunting these pictures. So
Yeah,
if,
yeah,
if I discover a picture that has information with it, then I will share that information in my post. If it doesn't, then I've got nothing, to
sure, yeah,
share. I'm guessing, and sometimes I'll guess. And I'll say this. I'm guessing that this is, and a lot of times I'm right, but I'm going to be wrong, and I'm human.
sure, yeah. But yeah, how cool would that be? And I know there's a story somewhere that somebody had found the model of a Death Star at a flea market or something like that, and they bought it and then they just stored it away. I forgot where I heard that story, but it's one of those modern wives' tales that you hear from time to time. And then they dig it out and they realize that it was used. It was a screen prop. And a lot of these props are used, and sometimes they're discarded, sometimes they're kept, just in case. But the I guess in northern Africa, you can still go to Tatooine and see some of the old sets, right?
Yeah, apparently, I think slowly it's disappearing.
Yeah,
People take home a piece of that skeleton, or a piece of Luke's house or something, a piece of the
a
mortar.
corner of Mos Eisley.
Yeah, yeah. So
Um,
slowly disappearing, I think.
yeah, I definitely would love to have a moisture evaporator in my backyard.
Oh,
That
I
would
love
be
that.
awesome.
It was reminding me of the X-wing fighter
Yeah,
guns as
yeah,
well. That
yeah. So
close up.
cool.
They
Very
look so
nice.
cool. Anyway.
Yeah. So I was asking you online, somebody had talked about green screen versus blue screen,
Mhm.
and we were having a little conversation about that.
Yeah,
Back in the day, obviously everything was blue screen, and it was kind of universally known when you had a blue screen up with some special effects, they would take the blue out,
yeah,
and then digital filmmaking. George kind of revolutionized digital filmmaking, and they changed blue to green. But can you explain to us just a little bit of the difference between the use of the two colors, why
yeah,
and what?
yeah. Okay, education time. You ready?
Education time. I love this stuff.
Okay, education time. It used to be blue screen. Blue screen was great for keying out color because not many things in nature are that vivid blue. That bright. It has to be lit evenly for the best keying.
Yeah.
But they used blue. It had its problems. It had its limitations. They had to build an R2 that had black panels, so they all the shots in the X-wing fighter, his panels didn't disappear
Oh, that's right.
because there's blue in it. So
Yeah.
Django Fett, you can't use a blue screen
Yeah.
because all the blue on his armor, he'll be silver and transparent.
Right.
So it wasn't necessarily George, I think, but green is way more vivid, much brighter, much harder to find in nature.
Mm.
And so you can pull it out. And so it's not like blue screens went away. When we were doing the shoots for the Mantis and Goosebumps, had so much green in it, we had to use blue to get a good key.
Mm.
Actually, you can use red as well. There's red and purple. If you watch some of the Revenge of the Sith, where Palpatine is fighting Mace Windu, all that was shot with a purple. You use the color that you haven't got anything of in the foreground, or the subject is free of to a
Yeah.
degree. And so you choose the appropriate color to get your appropriate key. It's not like one went away.
Yeah.
Green screen did come in as like, wow, we should be using this. This is much better.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And
A green character like me,
sure.
I need a blue screen.
Right. And that does make sense. I did see some behind the scenes footage of even more recently the Book of Boba Fett where it was blue.
Mhm.
And I think you mentioned R2D2 and the different colored panels. I think there was some behind the scenes where for the Luke's appearance in Book of in Mandalorian, where R2's some of R2's panels were not blue, they were green.
Hmm.
So that I found that interesting too. It's pretty cool. Pretty
Yeah,
very nice.
You choose the one that is going to give you pull out that subject the most. Whatever would make him pop the most.
Sure.
I guess we'd
Yeah.
say.
Excellent. Yeah. I just want to remind everybody in the chat towards the end, we are giving away this R2D2 USB car charger and some Star Wars Trilogy Special Edition buttons that I got back in the day during my AMC movie event that I still held on to. So that is really cool. Stick around, find out some details on how you can get that. So you said you're working at Netflix Animation, and did I ask you this already? What projects are you? What projects can you talk about?
I can talk about. I've done 3 projects so far from them, and the first is already streaming. It's Back to the Outback,
Okay.
and I got to work on about 7 sequences. So the biggest one was the road chase. So in Back to the Outback, if you watch it, I created the road chase sequence. So the last project I could mention is Ultraman.
Oh, cool.
Ultraman I saw recently 50% animated. It's got 3 ILM studios working on the animation. It's got Singapore, it's got London, and it's got Vancouver, and they're all trying to outdo each other. It's great.
Nice.
But I saw some final lit Ultraman recently, and it's just, oh my god, it's like visually stunning. So it's like an anime-esque kind of like Spider-Verse kind of feel,
Oh,
except
nice.
not on ones, not twos.
Yeah.
Ultraman, kind of try and reintroduce Ultraman to the US and kick him back off here. So they did. Don't get it confused with the Ultraman series on Netflix.
Yeah.
There's a series out, and I watched some of that, and I found it just. They loved having a chat. It was a lot of just standing around chatting about, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get. So it was like a lot of this and not much fighting. So
Yeah.
our one is going to be a bit more. It's a bit more kind of trying to give an overview to Ultraman so that you can create a hub on which to build. So hopefully, maybe a TV series in the future. I'm hoping Netflix
Picks that up. Yeah. Excellent. You mentioned a little friendly competition between the 3 ILMs. Do you guys do that a lot?
I guess it's more common now because when I was my 2 years at ILM were 1994 and 1995. So there was internet, but you weren't allowed it at work. All you had was email. Internet access was too hard to police and make secure back then.
Sure.
And this is ILM. This is a place where we had to hide our garbage because people went through the garbage at ILM.
Oh, wow.
Looking for those latex hands or whatever.
Right. Jeez.
A button from a stormtrooper,
Yeah,
or something. But it was always like the biggest pack of raccoons had torn through, or bears had torn through the garbage. So they had to hide it. So back in the day, even though we had internet, there was not much communication. There was intercommunication.
Sure.
I didn't have to leave my desk to chat to the person I'm working with, to talk out when I'm going to be seeing George, to give notes to my technical director. But now, everyone knows everyone across the globe. So
Yeah.
I can't make a comparison. I'm not sure. I'm sure those people all know each other,
Yeah.
or compete against each other, or I don't know. It's a different world now, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, obviously we're fans of sci-fi, we're fans of Star Wars, obviously. Is there anything upcoming, either streaming or movies, that you're really looking forward to?
I mean, sorry to it sounds like I'm echoing or plug-in, but this Ultraman movie,
Yeah.
when I finished working on it, I got to design 11 sequences for it, and which is the most I've ever contributed to a movie. I usually, before this, maybe the second one was the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
I did a lot of the previs for a lot of that movie. But I said to the directors that, everyone asks me, "What was your favorite movie to work on?" I've always said New Hope or
Hmm.
War Horse. Probably one of those two, because War Horse was a very cool movie to work on. Or the first Avengers. I don't know. It's a competition, but now I can say Ultraman just because that 18 months working with the directors was such a joy and such a creative outlet. I could just go crazy, and they would be cheering me on. So I said to them, I said, there's so much music in the world, but only one Beatles. I said, you are my Beatles.
That's cool.
So
Very
that's my
nice.
new answer. And so I'm really looking forward. Like I said, I saw one sequence lit, and it was a nighttime. I can't give any details, but it's a nighttime sequence in the rain, very moody, thunderstorm, and it's obviously Tokyo in the background, all our focus, and it was just oh my god, how can just that one shot was amazing. I can't imagine the hour and a half of or whatever it's going to end up
Sure.
watching that kind of eye candy. I hope it's in a big screen. It's going to
Yeah.
be wasted on a small screen. But when I work, I render my stuff and I watch it large, and I lean into my
Sure.
screen so I can feel like I'm in the theater. And
Yeah.
then I watch it on my phone so I can see it how some people would watch it.
Sure.
And I make sure that it holds up in both.
Yeah.
But you
Absolutely.
have to now. This is funny. It's like a new era,
Yeah, absolutely. People are watching things on all platforms, big
Yeah,
screens, small screens, medium screens. It's amazing. I hope that the movie theaters don't go away in the future.
yeah.
It's something. It's kind of like a human communal experience, and it's something that my team and I talk about all the time. We really relish going out to a theater, sitting in the dark with other, like-minded people. Obviously, you're there to watch a really exciting movie, something that you're really, excited to watch. So I'm really hoping that it doesn't go away. Absolutely.
Hmm.
What's the last movie you saw?
The last movie I saw, or the last movie I went out to see.
Yeah, last movie you went out to see.
Oh God, it was Dune. That was it.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I had to go and see it because a lot of my colleagues worked on it. They were
Oh, that's
working on.
cool.
They were working on it while I was working on Monsters, Love and Monsters,
Okay,
which was
very
up
nice.
for a special effects Oscar.
Very nice.
So
Yeah,
I must have done something good.
yeah, absolutely.
Love and Monsters, it was straight to TV.
Excellent, excellent. I'm going to remind everybody. So if you want to win this USB car charger in the shape of R2D2, I should have taken a screenshot of the back. His head turns and he beeps. You plug it into your cigarette lighter, and then you've got two USBs there. You can kind of charge your phone, and we'll stick some Scarif and Red 5 Network stickers, a whole bunch of nice stuff in there. All you have to do is post a what do we do? What do we do? Let's tag a friend at the Scarif podcast Twitter. Make sure that they follow us, and just say hello to us. If you do it in the next couple of hours, your chances will go up, but I will leave this giveaway open for the next couple of days. Like I said, tag a friend, make sure that that friend follows us, and obviously make sure that you're following us. And we will select a winner in the next couple of days. I'll send that out along with some Scarif Scuttlebutt swag. Excellent, my friend Mark. Thank you so much for joining us and talking Star Wars Special Edition. And I love talking technology and movies. All the behind the scenes stuff really fascinates me. It's just a pleasure to talk to you all the time.
Thank you, sir.
Before we go, is there any questions from the chat that maybe you guys want Mark to answer? Let's see here. Everybody loves R2D2.
I will say though that I don't love everything that the special editions did, and I thought it was a vicious rumor about the whole Greedo sequence. Because it happened after I left, and I was at Disney, and a guy went up to visit San Francisco because a lot of us left for Disney. So he went up to see our friends, and he came back with this information, and I really thought it was a rumor.
A
I was like,
rumor, yeah.
there's no way he would take away Han's arc like
Right.
that. That
Yeah.
would be a silly thing to do. So when I can understand, I do have some bad feeling about I because the special edition has that in, and because it has that one-toe scene in.
Yeah.
There's some those two things I have irk me, put it that way.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I can understand.
There's one shot in A New Hope that I thought to myself, why did they do that? And there's when they're searching for R2 in the desert, he goes into a cave and they put and I'm hoping you didn't do this shot. They put a rock in front, halfway in front of R2 where there wasn't before. And I thought it looked weird, and I didn't think that there was a need for putting a digital rock in front of R2 at that point.
Yeah,
just kind of
I didn't know anything about that. I knew about some of the smart things they were doing.
sure.
Like I was talking about the limitations of blue screen.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that blue screen did destroy was the flames when the Y wings are like blowing up into the Death Star. If you watch the original, they're pink because it pulled all the yellows out.
Oh, yeah.
Out the blues. It destroyed the color balance, and they end up pink in the movie. And George always hated that they were pink and not yellow, flames.
Right.
So one of the jobs was to put the right color in and change that aspect of it. Also, all of the shots, I really like the fact that they went to this extreme. A lot of the original movie, just because George wanted to give the illusion that this was another galaxy, and he didn't want things like Phillips screwdrivers or flathead screws showing through. So a lot of the shots, he draped a pantyhose or stretched a pantyhose over the end of the camera to kind of knock back any of that fine detail that you look for, like we're used to now.
Yeah.
To kind of maintain that illusion. And so on the digital work that we did, all of our stuff went through a filter that put back that slide pantyhose filter.
Interesting.
On all our digital work.
Interesting. Yeah.
They did care. Ireland did care. And also, you have to ask yourself, who on this planet, if there's one person on this planet that has the right to say, you know what, I want to correct some of the stuff on my blockbuster, it's George. And
absolutely.
So, because George wanted these changes, I thought he's the only guy that.
Yeah. Would have.
I worked on the remake of Poltergeist, and I thought, why would you remake Poltergeist?
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
It was fun. I got to the clown sequence, but I was questioning as I was working on it, should we be doing this? But on special editions, it's George's movie, so
sure,
George has the right to do with it more than
anybody else. Yeah,
anyone complaining online about it.
Sure, yeah,
hasn't got as much right as George has. I'm sorry,
totally agree.
His mistake was that he dismissed he ever made the originals. That's his mistake.
Sure.
So you have to forgive him that one mistake on his part. He should have embraced, well, this is the originals and this is the special editions. Have whichever one you want.
Yeah.
And he would have made more money.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. It's a great question. Interesting question. Speaking of questions, we have a couple of questions from the chat real fast. Vader wants to know, did you get to keep any of the Boba Fett suits?
I tried.
Of course you did.
I tried. When I first wore it, which was way before the blue screen shoot, and both of these things happened a year before I ever got to work on the special edition. But I was doing the dressed up in a costume for the first time for an event at the summit for all the Kenner guys, and Dark Horse Comics and everyone like that, and Bantam Books and whoever were the license holders. So that's when I first got to wear the suit for a long period of time. I got to try it on, which was amazing. I didn't want to take it off. But then this is the first time I got to wear it for like 4 hours. So I was like, yes.
Nice.
A good hour before that and after that. So a good 6 hour stretch in the original suit. Like, sign me up, right?
Nice.
So I'm doing that. But as I'm taking the costume off at the end of the night, the guy's checking off everything I take off.
Oh, really?
So if I took one piece off, and he said to me that Boba Fett has the most separate pieces, even more than you think would be Stormtrooper or Vader.
Yeah.
But Boba Fett has the most pieces, like with the spats and everything like that, all these little bits. But there was a guy crossing
checking it out, right?
Glove left, glove right, and the thing is, he's dropping the gloves and everything in this big kind of like it looked like a washing machine size box.
Yeah,
just dropping them like it was like treasure.
Oh my god,
treasure.
Yeah,
but the glove had these buttons on, and I was like thinking, oh, imagine everyone that's worn this glove. Like Jeremy's bound to have worn it, John Moore's probably bound to have worn it. Took the glove, the button came off, and I kept the button. I kept the button.
Nice.
I don't know what happened to it though. In the move from San Francisco to Los Angeles, I don't know where it went. But I did have the button.
That's funny. Of all things you've kept, the button.
I was happy for that.
That's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, there's a I think it's the making of The Empire Strikes Back, where they have an old black and white picture of the entire suit just laid out with all the pieces, and it is a lot. It is a lot. Yeah. Lunar Girl wants to know if you have a secret DM chat where you chat with all the other Boba Fett actors.
I wish we did, but they're all so busy. Like Daniel's always doing conventions, as is Dickie Beer. So those guys are busy all the time. I have to limit my conventions to at the most once a month. So I have to spread it out, because otherwise, had taken like a Thursday and a Friday and a Monday off, Netflix would be, what's going on? Every couple of weeks you're gone,
Yeah.
So I got to balance it, whereas those guys can do. But we do keep in touch. I just send an email to those guys talking about next week. So
that's very cool.
We do blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So I guess there is a secret DM, but I can't share it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you say that you didn't get to keep the original Boba Fett outfit, but obviously now with the technology of 3D printing and all that stuff, I mean, you've got, 501st making their own stuff.
Yeah.
Have you made your own outfit that you can wear on your own?
I did. I made one in about 1999 or 2000. It was one of before cosplay was a thing, and I got to wear it in a couple of the Pasadena parade.
Yeah.
And I thought this was a guy dressed up as Boba Fett. I didn't know it was really Boba Fett, but it was. And I wore it for the first. I did a series of skits with the Boba Fett fan club called No Disintegrations, or www.nodisintegrations.tv. And for the first 5 episodes, I wore this costume, and we had so many people like complaining that things weren't right. I didn't have a proper hood. I didn't have the people just picking it apart. So I had to, for the ones beyond the first 5, I had to borrow a suit from Boba Fett as college debt.
Oh yeah,
find him on on Instagram. He loaned me his suit, Rod. So thank you, Rod. You saved my ass.
Speaking of the suit, Vader's got another question.
Yeah.
I as you can see, I've got a Darth Vader suit behind me, and I used to keep it in storage. When I realized, why the hell do I keep it in a box? Let's put it out and display it proudly. Vader Rapina has his own suit, and I can tell you that it does definitely get hot. Did the Boba Fett suit get hot at any time?
It did, but luckily it was December, and those big kind of hangars that they shoot in,
Yeah.
the sound stages, impossible to heat because they're so huge.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's freezing cold in there. You get no sunlight in there ever because they're always shooting, always got it closed. So lucky it kind of helped warm me up. But the worst part was that it was just that right temperature or just that right humidity because it's San Francisco,
Sure.
or Marin County. Just the right humidity and temperature that everything just, especially in the morning shoot, everything just fogged up so bad. So
You
bad.
can't see,
I mean,
yeah.
your eyesight is limited. Your mobility is limited. And when you can't see as well,
Yeah. Makes it
I
rough.
was so worried that I was going to make a mistake. And then just before we started shooting, it was like, wait a minute, you've got the bells on the wrong shoulders.
Oh.
We can't do anything about that now. We can't do anything about that now. And I thought, well, I'm not going to refuse to do it. I'm not going to say, well, I'm not doing it. If
Yeah.
everyone says, why did you get the bells on? It's not I'm not wardrobe. But yeah, it was like that morning was particularly cold there.
Yeah.
December in Marin County.
Sure.
It's pretty.
Yeah. That's
Pretty
too
chilly.
funny. The first time I wore my Vader outfit, I was trick or treating with the kids and the family in the neighborhood. Once the sun came down and I was in it for a few hours, it fogs up. I was frozen. My wife just left me. I'm walking blindly around the neighborhood. I'm like looking for her. I can't see a damn thing. And it's just funny. I had to be rescued by a neighbor of mine who saw that I was struggling a little bit. Darth Vader, imagine Darth Vader just kind of freaking out in the middle of the street with a bag of candy. Absolutely funny stuff. Mark,
thank you. Dickie Beer's stories actually, but it was heat, and he was in the Gamorrean suit.
Oh yeah.
Luke had just sliced him up. He was on the floor, and they cut, and everyone just left, and they left him there in the suit. He was like he couldn't move.
Yeah.
And it was Carrie Fisher that saved him.
Wow.
She replayed that scene in Jedi, except it was Dickie Beer and not Han Solo.
Very nice. That's awesome. Awesome. Great stories. And Mark, thank you so much for joining us tonight, making yourself available for our discussion here. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Where can people find you to say hello there?
You can find me either under Mark Anthony Austin. It's that 70 sounding name, or at Boba Fett ANHSC. That stands for A New Hope Special Edition, which is on the
Sure,
fly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And I want to thank everybody in the chat. Seems like we had a very nice crowd. Thank you for indulging my questions. Like I said, I'm really always interested in talking to folks that work in the industry and chatting about special effects and things like that. I think next week we have another wonderful Scarif Live. I think we're going to do 5 questions with Wikipedia. That should be a lot of fun. And if you are catching this late, make sure you either replay the video and check out what Mark has to say, but we are also going to be dropping the audio in podcast form on Tuesdays. So check out your favorite podcatcher. Until then, Mark, thank you so much again. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. This is Ro from the Scuttlebutt podcast. Talk to you guys later. And that's the Scuttlebutt.